We're live. Time to check. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay. Testing, testing. All right. Let's get started. Let's get started. So I'm gonna create a new HTML file. HTML underscore forms. Yeah, what's me about Christopher? All right. Close this. Then let's give it to an external CSS. So HTML underscore forms dot CSS. So these are the two things we're working on. I'm gonna reduce this, shrink it. Then terminate this, go live again. Doc. We can now start. Let me just start the opening prayers and let's begin. In Jesus' name. Father, I commit tonight's class into your hands and I ask that with your spirit of understanding, with your spirit of understanding, come and help us. We are just human beings and we are incapacitated without your help. So we just ask that you give us an external help and also a supernatural help to understand what we are doing and to be best at what we do. In Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is as normal we have been doing, just link the external CSS. So link the external CSS. We can just HTML underscore forms dot CSS. Okay. Now you know what a form is. You filled form before, one way or the other, either at your office or for customers, or even when you're opening an account. You've always been filling form. Or this time around, it has always been on paper, or sometimes even online. You fill forms. I don't know if you've come across something like that, but what about fiscal forms? You fill fiscal forms, Abby?
Like paper forms,
Yeah. So it's something that we've been conversant with. It's almost like every day of our life. We always fill forms. Now, when it comes to HTML or web dev, there is this HTML element or tag that is called forms, the form tag. Okay, so that is what you use to create a form on a web browser. Yeah, you use it to collect details about somebody. Like the forms you always fill is always used to collect details about a person or someone. Abby. So in HTML, we're using that to get certain details about some people or anybody that comes into our website, and we want him to do so and so thing. You get. So to start a form or to create a form, we need to use this form tag. Vivian, good evening. So to work with a form, you need to use the form tag. So we just started right now, and yeah, we've been waiting for her, and so let's just continue. Let's count. Yeah, very, very well. Like my voice is so. I think he's kind of like echoing on something.
Probably next one.
Definitely
Yeah,
sure.
she's the one that wants to experience what I always experience.
Well, I couldn't really do anything that much that yesterday because I know that yesterday
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me now?
very very well,
Hello? Can you hear me?
very clearly.
Hey, God. Hey, God.
We can actually hear you very well.
Can you hear me? Yes, yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you very well, Vivian. Just something you know what to do.
Wait, she wants to try another phone, so
Hello?
yeah. What's up?
Hello? You can hear me, bro?
Very well.
I can hear you now. You don't too clear, but I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. You have to use another phone.
Yeah, I'm using my other phone. My iPhone now, just like Google Pay. But can hear you faint. I think, wait, let me connect to my last week. I see if it's going to be louder.
All right.
My whole connection. Can you still hear me?
Very well.
You said very well, huh?
Yeah.
You said very well. Very well.
Yep. Yep.
Just continue. I'm not ready to be frustrated.
So let's begin. So basically, what I was talking about was the form element. That is what we use to like create forms when we want to work with forms in HTML. You must have used forms probably when you are creating your bank account or even Google Forms too. When you want to register for something, they tell you to fill up this Google form and all those stuff. Form is basically what we use to like get details from persons. You get. So in HTML, we have to use this form element and this form tag. You get the starting tag here and the closing tag here. So it is now inside this form element that we're now going to put in all the things that we are going to collect from the user. You get all the information that we're going to collect from the user, and that is where input comes in. Now there is something called an input element. An input element is mostly used to collect the name or to collect details from, or the it's mostly used to showcase the type of input the user is going to make. So if it's going to be like a button or a check mark or a checkbox or something like that, or a text field, you're going to like this specify it using the input element. So say for example, I come over here, I write the input element. So you input. Okay. Now, what is the input element? Just once you open it up, it doesn't have a closing tag. So once you open it up, inside it you give it an attribute. So every input element now has a kind of attribute that is called type, and that is what you are going to use and specify the type of data that is going to be put inside that element. You get. So I can say inside this input element I want the type of data that is going to be passed in, or the type of information the user is going to put in, to be, let's say, a text or a button, or you can even see them specified here. Whether you want it to be a button or a checkbox or a color or a date or a date time or an email or a file or an image or a month or number, all of those things, we actually specify them here. There are so many. So it stops up till week. So it's up to you. So if it's even a password, it's a type of input that you're going to put in a password. You specify it inside a type. Okay. So I can say I want what the user is going to be inputting to be a kind of text field. Good. So it's going to be a text. Now, if I should render this, you see an empty box that should come out to specify that, okay, this is actually a text box. So let this load up. Now as that's loaded up, you find that you see a text box inside here. Okay, so maybe we can even, let me just do something minor here. Use a h5 tag. Use a h5 tag and say we can give it username. We can come here and give it username. Then something like this comes up. But so we can now say, okay, I want the username to be specified inside this box here. You can actually use another type of input. I'm gonna break this. You can use another type of input. It can be an email field. You get, so say input, specify the type. So I want it to be an email type. Then close it up. So anything I'm going to put inside this box that is going to display once I refresh this next dialog box, I'm going to break it so it will be clearer for us. I might add that break too. Now, anything we are going to put inside this box here, is going to be an email. If you are actually viewing this from a mobile phone, you'll find that your keyboard settings will change automatically. I don't know if you visited some websites whereby you want to like put in your email. They will tell you open a box for you to put in that email. When you placed your mouse or you tapped on that box to start typing your email, your keyboard changed automatically as if they actually wanted you to put in your email specifically. I don't know if you've come across something like that, Christopher or Vivian.
I think the way how you want to explain that, like, if you want to type your email, how do you do it?
I said if you are viewing this on a mobile phone and you actually want to type something into an email field, if you are viewing it on a mobile phone, there is a way your keyboard layout will change automatically as if they want you to actually put that email, so your keyboard layout will change. You get, I don't know if you've come across, because I always take notice of those things when I'm browsing, and I don't know if you've noticed something like that before. Are you serious?
Probably I'm not paid attention to it.
Just try and be paying attention for now. Anytime they
Like,
tell you
when you
to.
mean email layout, is it like when you put on it, when your password gets to it, like from your keyboard, is it that your email displays as suggestions or what?
Your keyboard will be positioned in a way that it will want you to actually put in your email. Well, let me just continue. It's not really that much. So let me break this and fill up another.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Can you hear me? I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, very well.
Please, can you type the question if you hear me, please? And can you type the answer? Let me just continue talking because it's showing as if you hear me. Okay. I did my own form. I'm still at form. I did my own form and it's showing me action. Action. Why?
Repeat your question again.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Very well.
Hear me about previous network issues.
All right.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you were saying something about action.
Yes, I said I did on my religious school, and if you click on my click enter,
Yeah.
it's supposed to bring out the opening and the closing time.
Yeah.
But my own will play me action, like
Okay.
like
So that action, what that action means is actually what will happen when you send in that form or when you submit that form. You get. So it's in that place that you now put in the link to maybe the JavaScript or the PHP code that we actually, will I say, run that form. Whenever you fill a form, it's actually being submitted and it's submitted somewhere, or at least something should happen when you submit that form. You get. So that action is what is going to happen. That is why you put in what is going to happen when the person submits the form. You get.
I'm using this AI tonight.
Do you have like an earpiece?
I tried using the that big one. It's cracking. It's cracking. But this one is faint, very faint. I tried connecting to my mini speaker Bluetooth. It's not connecting. Telling me, I don't know if I connected with another phone that I have in my ear.
If you can try like a normal earpiece.
I don't have normal ear. That
Okay.
is this one for the normal big one. I don't have ear. And then there's this Bluetooth. That Bluetooth. Yeah.
Okay.
But I will just hold this one to my ear and be doing no problem. Anyone that I just hold it close to my face to hear what I can say and looking like the same time. So I'll manage for tonight. The boy can hear me loud and clear and good.
Okay. All right. So you can try out another type of form input. So another type of form input is a button. This one is that is going to like display a button. No, we have used button elements before. That is to create a button, but this type of button is in forms. You get. So you're kind of telling the user, okay, you can actually input a form, like a input with this button. So I create the input. Oh my, this is on caps lock. The input.
And
Then
Eli,
yeah, I can hear you.
with this one, you can't with caps lock. If it's capital letter, does it automatically mean a different thing?
No, it doesn't mean it. I just
Like
did
when
it.
you're doing, when you are typing in the code,
No, it doesn't.
but it's still same thing.
Yeah,
He said it doesn't.
no, it doesn't.
Because I think I
Because
noticed
CSS. It
Okay,
says
in CSS, it's going to matter. It has to be exactly the same. You get that the class name and the ID looks like get the exact class name or ID accurately. But if you don't use the same distance, it's not going to work. I'm clear enough, but Okay, so if I should come over here and render this code, you'll find that there is a button here. Though I didn't put anything inside, but it's clickable. I don't know if you get. So that is it. So you can give it the, call it the button, and give it the give it the input, then give it the type. You get. Then there is so many others, though I don't know if we should come out and start listing all of them. You get. But we can, let's just work with something simple. There is something that, if you've come across sign up forms, if you've come across the sample sign up form, let me get one. Sample sign up form. I'll go to images over here. A sample sign up form or a sign up page. I need to find one that I can work with. Sample sign up page. I'll use page. Okay, let's see something like this. You see this page over here? If you notice, okay, it has a username at the top here, but then inside the box you see something like, if you can see this thing very well, let me know, or let me zoom in. It has a username here, though it's very small, but you will see it very well. You would have come across something like this. Then inside the form box, that is the input box, you will see some text there. It's not really actually text, but when you want to type it, it will disappear. I don't know, you must have come across something like that when you are visiting some websites or when you want to create an account. Then under it, you might see something like email address, or after email address, then inside it, they'll now tell you type your email here, something like that. Now, there is something that is used to do that, and that is called a label tag. You get. So a label tag will help you do something like that. Then when you use the label tag, it will make the form, let's say, look like a form. You get. So I can come here and say, come to the first one and say that, okay, in this first side, I'm gonna remove this thing over here, this first H1, and give it a name, label. So label is almost like caption. Remember when you use caption when you are working with tables? I can use caption for tables. So you actually say, okay, the label I can give this label. We can say our first name, but so we can give it our first name. If I should refresh this on the browser, you find our first name is here. You get it's now making sense in a way for us. So I can break it, so I can give it a new line and refresh it. First name goes in here. Okay. Then now we've done the label for the first name. I can come and say, okay, I want to create another label. I'm going to space it out again. Label for another label for our last name or middle name. Let's say middle name. So middle name. And after the middle name, we'll break it. So our middle name is a normal type of like text. You get middle name is a normal type of text. So all we just have to do is create an input element here and give it a type of text, since the text input. So we are just writing, we're not actually like doing any other thing to it. Get. Then after that, we break it. Remember, the reason I'm always putting this break is because of that new line. Get. So if I should refresh, I have the first name. Then after the first name, I have a text box under it. Okay. The middle name, I have a text box under it that will collect the input of the middle name. I can also say for the last name, label, the last name, and then give it a type. So we'll say the input type. Give an input type of text. Close it up. Then give it a break statement. Then maybe after collecting the last name, I want the person to fill in his email. I can say, okay, label email. Now, when the person fills this, put in the email now. Then under it, since I've already written the one under, I've written the type of input the user is going to put in. So I'll put in the label. Then under it, we'll now put this input type of email. Okay. Then if you refresh it, we have first name, middle name, last name, email. So there's no break in this, so I'm going to give it a break. I should refresh this. You will see we are getting a form together right now. But I don't know if you are getting my, or if I'm actually confusing anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not confusing
I'm
anybody.
getting it slowly. No, not really.
I don't know, Vivian. Do you have any question?
It's just I don't know whether it's
You say you don't know what that is. What?
like the way your own is arranged. Like, so how did you do the first name? You know, when you typed it, it was actually the box was in front of the first name. But now it seems you kind of rearranged that the lines are below the text.
Okay. I use this
I don't know
break.
if you understand my question.
You first write your
That's it,
label.
good.
Then after you are done writing your label, you break it. Remember, break puts the next thing into the new line. So when you break it, the next line is going to now be this input type for this your first label. Okay. Then after doing both of them, you also break it too. You create another label. Create another label for middle name. Then we're now putting the input type for that in middle name. You get.
Okay.
Then after creating it, we create a label for the last name. Create the input type for the last name. And remember, these first three for first name, second, middle name, and last name. I said that the type of input as text because they are actually like text. They are not putting any numbers and all of those stuff. They're just normal text. So they are going to put it in, and the form is going to collect it as normal text. Okay. Then we now have another label, which is email. Then the type of data is going to collect will be an email data or email input. Okay. Then after that, we'll now start talking about the forms, which I want to. We'll now start talking about the submit, which I want to do right now. So every form has a submit button. Okay. So I can come here and give this a submit type. So once I give this a submit type, you see a submit button because every form will actually have a submit button. You see a submit button over here. Okay. So I can actually give it more space if I want to. So it will be spaced out the more. Remember, this is not the original way of, this is like a shortcut way of me giving more space. If I actually want to style and give space, I'll use CSS and style it and give it a space. But just this is like a demo simplified way of shortcutting myself. You get. So it makes sense, but I don't know. It makes sense to you. It should make sense.
Yeah, it does.
What about you, Vivian?
I'm still network go.
Okay. let's still continue. I will still break down this more. So I've talked about type. You get, and I don't know if you might have come across a type of form that they will tell you to. You might actually like have to tick the options. I don't know if you've come across something like that. You see some yellow dots and they will tell you to tick the options of the one you are using. So we'll do something like that now. Now I want to create a form. Okay, let me show you what I mean.
Yes, I'm doing such.
Exactly. Now, if you work with some forms now, they will tell you to choose one. When you tick, let me. It's better dumb than said. Instead of me dragging the whole matter. Now, I can say, okay, I want to create a form that will have to like make me choose, let's say, either one or one option. Yeah, I can't choose more than one option. So I can create a form. Then I said which, maybe that in that form I can say which one is better, front end, back end, or full stack. Yeah, so I can say I want a front end, I want an input. So I want an input, and I want the type of input to be a radio input. Now, why is it radio? That radio is like, is what is going to specify the type of input it is. It's going to be like a dot kind of input. Okay, so I can give it the radio input. Then also I will come after it and give it a label. Depends on you how you want to place it. I will talk about this for later. I don't want to make things complicated. So
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. This picture, I don't know why my room is showing me for now. And my room didn't show you that for when you are typing your name.
I
Trying to put in my name. Is there a particular extension that is helping me with this
yes.
extra extension?
No, it's not like it's an extra extension. As long as you have like HTML installed on your Visual Studio Code, or this HTML, what they usually call that stuff. Let me look at my extension. I've forgotten what they call it. That thing usually skips my mind.
But your own is not showing now.
No, mine shows. Mine shows, but I actually like skip it.
So I just type it by myself. I don't know whether
You can actually like
settings and
skip that
that's the whole thing.
skip that 4. It's not really compulsory. They have to put the 4 instantly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I said continue.
All right. So Let's continue. Now, if in this label, now, for example, I can now say I want front end. Then, if you notice now, you are seeing a dot here. You are seeing the dot bar. This is what that radio type does. Something like this. Let's now do this. Let me break it. Then create another input. Then give it a type. After giving it a type, I can say I want the type to be a radio too. Then give it a label. Then the name of the label will be backend. Give another input and give it radio. Give it a label. Call it full stack. So in this type of form, we will have 3 options. Okay, let me also give this a break so the form will be clear. In this type of form, we have 3 options: front end, back end, full stack. You get? Are you hearing? So what this radio does is to give you this type of bulleted option. Okay, it's to give you this type of bulleted option for you to like choose from. You get? Now that 4 you are seeing, what that 4 means is that 4 is trying to specify which input has that label. So I can come here and say an ID. Input has an ID of front end. It can be anything, so it can be any name. So I can say front end. In this label, I'll give it a 4. And this label, I want to specify that this label is actually for this one over here. So I have to come and say 4. Inside the 4, I'll now put in that ID name and give it that same front end. You get? Then also here too, ID name, and call this one backend. Then in the 4, I'll give it backend. In this last one too, give it an ID name of full stack. Then the label, I'll give it an ID, the 4. In the label, I'll give it a 4 of full stack. So the 4 you have been seeing, what that 4 is for is to that in Samsung, what that 4 is for. So what the 4 attribute is for is to specify this 4 now is to specify that this label, that this entire label is actually, this entire label here is actually for this input over here. Okay, that's what the 4 here we are using as the ID. The ID we are using here is going to be equal to the 4 that you are using here. You get? I don't know if you hear what I mean. Do you understand? Vivian, Christopher.
It's both cracking and jumbled up like this night is empty and yeah. Was
What about you, Christopher?
Hey, you don't want to get this.
Which one?
No, I didn't get that for you were talking about. You were saying what that 4 is for. I didn't get the last part. So
Okay, you know, in this input we have an ID called
what that
attributes.
4 there represents you. That's
Now we have an ID
This is
in this
element.
yes, in this input. Now we have an ID called, in this input we have an ID called front end bar. Now
Yeah, yeah.
Now in the label, if I'm using this 4, I'm going to specify it with the ID over here. This 4 that we are putting here must be equal to the ID. You get? And this is to tell the, or this is to specify that this input over here, this is the label for it. You get? So this label, what is connecting this label and this first input is the 4 and the ID. So that is what is connecting the two of them together. So the next thing is, this attribute called name. Assuming now this is, I'm hearing.
Okay. I don't know if you know, before we go to the next thing, like this last part you did.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have tried it out by yourself. I just want to do one of this so that one will go, because I know we will soon take us to the CSS style this thing, right?
Yes.
Because I remember we created a CSS file for this.
So yeah, you want to say something?
I said before you move, because I've just been following, I find it difficult of following you and also trying to do it myself.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's go. I just wanted to try one or two of it to see if it's working out on this end. So,
All right. Okay. So assuming now this form that I'm creating, this form that I created right now, I want to be getting only one option. I want the user to be clicking only one, not any of them that they see. You get? You know, as you have seen this form now, you can click all of them. But the point of using this type of radio checkbox is so that the user can click only one. You get? So if I want to do that kind of thing, I'll introduce an attribute called name. Okay? So the name attribute, I can give it a name web_dev. Now, after giving it a name web_dev, if I want this to be used in only one, if I want this to be ticking only one, what I'm going to do is that I will use this name_dev the same way it is into 3 of them. So the first one is already done. I'll come here, use the second one. I'll come here, use the third one. It will show that okay, all these things are linked together. So if anybody is ticking it, is going to tick, and only one should be what is going to be ticked. You get? So if I should come and tick one here,
they just put the web dev for all of them.
Yes, you put it for all of them. So that if I actually click on one and I come here and click on this one, it will deactivate this one over here. You get? So exactly, as long as you want them to be ticking only one option. So another thing too is, as another attribute that is always used in this impute method, into impute. Yeah, I can hear you. Very, very, very well.
Okay, I was saying, okay, that he gave their name so they can overlap and do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I want to be ticking only one option. You get? So it will soon come together. Let's finish stop, then I'll explain it back again and another final explanation. Then there is another thing, attribute called value. Now, if you look at it from a normal sense, if you look at it from a just a normal, with your normal brain cells, this thing, we need to be passing a value to, let's say, maybe the back end. You get, we want the form we are ticking to actually have a value, so that we know that, okay, someone ticks for this is what actually the person ticked for. You get, so inside the form we are going to give it a value, and we can give the name of that value front end. That always be another name, but let it be that this is the value that we actually like the user is going to be ticking. So you can say we want the value of this first form to be front end, and we want the value of this second form to also be maybe back end, and we want the value of the last one to be full stack. Okay, so now all these forms now have a value, that if somebody is ticking the forms, he's actually ticking, okay, I'm ticking for this. Yeah, I'm ticking for the value inside this. I'm ticking for the value inside this. I'm ticking for the value inside it. So anybody that comes here and ticks front end is ticking for the value inside the front end. You get, so every form was, or at least the forms you are filling, should have a value of what they are sending, either to the back end or something. So you should have a value they actually stand for, or this is the reason why this form was made. You get, so breaking it down again, or starting afresh, if you want to create a form, you have to open the form tag, open and closing. Now inside of it, inside the form, you can put in your, it depends on how you want to style it. If you check the first one I did, the label came first. You get, before the input. The label came first before the input, and also the label for the second one came first before the input here. But if you check this one I did, the second form, the input came first before the label. It all depends on how you want to arrange it. You get, depends on how you want to arrange it. Assuming I put in a break after this input, this front end will come under this dot. So let me, if I put a break under this input, the front end will come under this dot here, which is not what I want. So I want both of them to be in alignment together. So that is why we don't put a break there. The label will come, you will put a break after the label. So we put in our input. Now what this input does is, this is what is going to allow the user to pass in or fill up what they want to fill up, the option they want to choose, and all of those stuff, or putting an input into the browser or the form on the website. Now when you put in that input, the input element, you have to specify the type of input that is going to be there. I've said that we have different types of inputs. We have different types for the input types. So to put in an input or specify the type, we have to use this type attribute over here. and give it the type of input that will be there. So for this first one, we have the type attribute, and inside the type attribute we have a text type. So it's kind of saying that what is going to be inside this input here, or what is going to appear on the browser, is only going to be allowing text. You get? That's why this kind of text box came out here. For the second one, we have text. That's why this type of text box came out. The third one, which is last name, we have text too. This is why another text box came out. This one, we have an email type. That is why an email field came out. If you look closely, it's even trying to suggest me to put in my email. You get? Then we now have another type of input too, which is like the submit. This is what is going to submit the imputed data in all of these forms to, let's say, maybe your server and all that. Then you can actually use another type too, which is I'm listening. Very well. I can hear you very well.
These are radio elements, that's radio buttons.
Mm-hmm.
From my end there,
Yeah.
the buttons are showing, but the text in front is not coming out. Even though I've put in the ID and the label for, but it's not showing on the preview, like on the website itself.
Are you running directly on the website or on your Visual Studio Code?
No, the room number. The buttons behind the front end and back end, the buttons are showing, but the text itself is
Okay.
not clear.
Did you put the text in your label?
I don't know whether I did anything different.
Check your label. Check your label. Did you put the text in your label?
Did I put that?
Did you put the text in your label?
Yes.
So this text is there.
Yes. Is it actually twice?
You know, inside your label,
Yeah. Okay. So I just saw that part now. Okay, inside the label for front end. Okay. It's inside, I need to put the front end, the text.
in between the starting tag and the closing tag.
In between the starting time. Okay. I didn't see that initially.
This is the starting tag. This is the closing tag. In between it,
Alright. Thank you.
you're welcome. So now after putting the type of button or the type of inputs that we are going to be using, you know, we are going to place your ID here. Remember, I've talked about ID. Is going to give a uniqueness to your elements, so that when you are styling it, it will to look unique. ID and classes. Now the difference between ID and classes is that IDs can only be used once. You get, but classes can be used multiple times. But so as this have an ID over here, ID called front end. Not only that are we going to style it with this uniqueness, we can also link this label here. That is where that for. That is what that for is for. That for attributes. You are trying to link the label, that this label is actually for. Oh goodness. No, no. So, like I was saying, for this for over here, you connect it with your ID by giving them the same name. So the same name you gave this ID over here is the same name you give this for over here. Okay, these two of them must have the same, so that you can be able to say that, okay, this label is actually for this input over here. You get? So do I do what?
So that's what you did now. The images were blocking the codes.
So the purpose of this label is to identify, the purpose of this for attribute is to identify the input is for. So this label has a for attributes, which is more like saying this label is for this input. You get, is for this input. This label with this for backend is for this input over here. So we are using for, and the for must be the same name with the ID. Now we are trying to give this a name, and since we want an option whereby we have to tick only one option, choose one option out of the three of them. In that situation, what we are going to do is we are going to give this a name using the name attribute. Give this form or that imputes a name, and the name will be the same for the three of them. That way, we know that okay, all of them are the same thing, but we have to choose only one. Okay. Then also give them a value so that whenever somebody is ticking, you know that okay, this is the value in code that we are returning. You get that okay, this person actually chose for this value here. That somebody is ticking is not actually ticking for nothing. The ticking is making, or what is clicking on, is actually triggering this value, saying that this is actually what the person is showing. Because if it's something that is going to be seen on the back end, what the back end user will be seeing is this value here, not actually what the person ticked. You get? I've said backend. I don't know if you know what backend is. Christopher.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
All right.
Like the person seeing what you upload in the system from wherever.
Yes. So I don't know if there's any other thing that is confusing you guys, so I'll know if I'm proceeding. Okay. So after creating this kind of option now, after creating it, next thing I'm going to do is now going to be okay, a submit button. You get, and the submit button will be impute give it a name, submit. And after giving it a name, submit. After giving it a name, submit, I'll then give it a value. Okay, the value will now be submit. But when the user clicks on it, it will trigger a submit. I should call it function, or kind of something like that, and the form gets submitted. Okay. Then, assuming now I want to have multiple forms or multiple check boxes or boxes is put. There is another type of input that is called checkbox. You get? So for me, I'm going to create another form here. Create another form. Give it an input. Then this input will have a type. I want the type for this input to be a checkbox. Now, since we've gotten it as checkbox, I can come and give it a label. Now we are going to have a for. Now, for which checkbox do I have to put it? So I can give this a name, first underscore input. Once I give it the name first input, I'll have to go to this input on top and give it an ID, and the name of the ID will be first underscore input. Okay. Then after that, I'll have to put in my label, what I want it to be. I can say amazing CEO. Now, this is the first option, or this is the first form and label. So if I should refresh this on my browser, I'm going to see this as the first one, and it's something that you can click on and click on and click. It's a checkbox. You should have come across something like this if you always navigate the web many a times. You would have come across something like this. Okay. Then break. I can come again with another input. But this time around, I'm not going to kill myself in doing all those. I'm going to use the shortcut, put in a colon, and give it a type of input. So I want it to be a checkbox. And all of them comes out. Okay. So I'll give this a name, call it second input.
What is the need for the second input? Like what? Like this input, this part now. What's the difference with this front end part?
Now, what I want to do is, remember we're using another type of input checkbox. You get, and we want to create a kind of form that we can check multiple things. You get, we can click on multiple things, and they will return a certain value to the backend people. Okay. So give it a label. The label will have a 4, and the 4 will now be for the ID on the one on top. So second input. That's a amazing manager. Give it a break. Inputs with a checkbox. ID third underscore input. And give it a label. So it's for third. Amazing designer. Now, after having these three things, I can give them a name. Since I want to have different options. You get, that first one we did, you must choose only one. Or this one, I can choose more than one. So for me to be able to do that, I can use this name attribute too. This name attribute. Make them have different names. So I can call this option 1, the second input, and I'll give it option 2. The third option, I'll call it option 3. And after that, we have given them 3 different options. So we can now be able to check more than one box. You get, and submit it. So after that, I'll have to like give them a value. Okay, the value of these forms, which is what the backend guys will be working with. I can say CEO value, or another value, call it manager value, or another value, designer value. Now, after all of this, I can give it a submit button. So the submit button, input, submit, give it a value, submit, and this is going to submit our options. So if I come and create a checkbox, I check this, I check this, I can submit it, and it will be sent to the person receiving it from the back end. You get. So I don't know if there is any question. Is there any question?
This name. Can you shift your cursor this side, please? Like on this screen. The name, option 1, option 2, option 3. We give this one different names, have you?
Yes, I gave them different names.
Tell me, can you hear me?
Yeah, I gave them different names.
You know the first one? The ones we did before, we gave it segments so that you can click only one at a time. Okay?
Yes.
You can tick only one box
No.
at a time.
It's not like you can't
So
tick.
this one, you can tick the 3.
It's not like you can't tick only one box at a time, but it's something like that, yeah. So let me do something else. Let's give it number 2 and number 3. I'll refresh it. Tick, tick, tick. So you give them the same name so you can be able to tick one box at a time. If I should refresh it back again, you find that you can only tick one. So any any question?
Yeah, at this point. Not from me. He's still with us.
What of Vivian?
Okay, maybe I never really
Vivian, remove your mic so we can know if you are talking with us. Vivian,
It's network.
so what I'll tell you to do tomorrow morning, you guys should just create your own forms. Get so we can proceed tomorrow. We'll have to be very fast. Tomorrow, you guys will have to yes,
Great form is something
create your own sign up form.
with these three aspects.
Not exactly with these three aspects, but a sign up form. You've visited different websites, but
Yeah.
so you visited websites and you've seen the requirements they ask for. They can ask you, look at this one for example, ask for email, ask for password, ask for retype password, your first name and last name. And also gave two options for male and female. You get, so you have to tick whether you are a male or you have to tick whether you're a female. So you must choose one option. You get, so you can, in this male and female, you can actually give him a name of the same name. You can say inside the name is equal to gender. So you can be able to tick one. Then also select country. You should be like a select box. You get, wow, happy birthday to me. So
It's 12.
yeah, it's tough. So then you can then select.
Say,
Gracias, thank you very much. Now in this one also, you can actually create. Don't worry about the styling. You can actually create a checkbox. You get. So I'm gonna let me cut this thing out. I'll cut it out. Capture it first. I'll save it to my desktop so I can be able to. Then you guys should check your Figma files tonight. Check your Figma files. Then in your Figma files, you'll be able to see this image. So you don't have to worry about the styling. Okay? You don't have to worry about the styling. All you just have to do is create something similar to this. You get, ba?
yeah.
So you guys just have to create something similar to this. I'm gonna drop it into my Figma file. You have access to the Figma files. You and Vivian have access to the Figma file. So you guys can do something similar to that. A sample a sample login page. And that's what we are going to review tomorrow night, and we'll do a quick review on it. I don't know, tomorrow night might last up to 2 hours. Why am I saying tomorrow night? That is this night, because we already, yes, it might, because I want us to complete something very, 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 very crucial. So I'm going to draw this over here. I'll upload the image. Fill it up. Desktop, front end. Okay, so the Figma file is already available. So it's up to you guys now. Just look at it and work with it. Let me scale it up so it will be larger in size when you guys are viewing it. So it already has a H1 tag. Forget about the icons. Just keep it simple. Put in your email, password, type password, first name, last name, this male and female icons, and all of those stuff. So just work with it, and we'll see tomorrow. This is the part I have to leave you guys. I can't thank God for a new age.
So, enjoying your cake day according to them. Beautiful birthday celebration, life and prosperity,
Thank
and
you.
continuous growth.
Thank you.
Alright.
So
And then,
all right. See you.